Hey everyone, and welcome to Shuriken Skills number 35 here in the Work Smarter Not Harder dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja. This week's Shuriken skill is to create a double exposure in Photoshop ninja style. So something like the thing you're looking at now. What I'm going to do is create a new document here, which I have ready to go, and I'm using the postcard format for this particular one. Then I'm going to bring in a couple of images. So I'm going to go to my Creative Cloud library. I've got two images here that I'd like to use, both from Adobe stock. And I'm going to drag in this female portrait to start off with. And that's just about fine there. I might make that slightly larger. Perfect. And then double click to apply that. And this one's licensed already, and you can see that inside of the library there. I'm then going to use the select subject command to actually get that from the background fairly quickly. So if I go to select and come down and choose subject, like so, it will analyze it and bring me that back. Now this one's pretty easy because it's against a white background, but do try it with other competing backgrounds because you'll probably find it does a really good job to start off with. I'm going to switch to the select to mask workspace with this, and I'm using the overlay view just here, and all I want to do is to get my refine edge brush here and just move across some of this fine hair stuff at the top there. Perfect. That's great. So what I'm going to do is get that to output to a layer mask and then hit OK. So now I've got everything I need. I'm going to turn that layer off momentarily and go back to my library. And here I've got an image which I'm using for position only until I determine that's what I actually want to use. And I'm going to come up to the control strip at the top, tap the link icon between the width and the height fields, and then just dial up the height very, very quickly till I've got it around about the size I'd like it to be. I'll double click to apply that. And what I can do now is drag the mask using the Alt or Option key onto that layer to duplicate it just there. I'm going to unlink the two by clicking the chain link icon in between, which frees me up to then reposition this to get it exactly where I'd like it to be. If I need to resize it as well, not a problem. I can just dive in and do that. And I think I do. I'm going to bring that in till it's just about like so. Perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do then is move the portrait up to the top of the stack. We'll turn that back on, and I'm going to use the camera raw filter here. So Shift Command A, Shift Control A on the PC, and I'm going to choose the monochrome profile from the top. If you don't have that on your version of Camera Raw, you'll need to go to the HSL mix along the tabs at the top here, and then just tune that to the way I want it. So I'm going to increase the exposure and also make that much, much more contrasty just here. Drop that exposure down a little bit there, and maybe just bring in some slightly cooler temperature and just offset the tint there. They're all bringing out different grayscale values. Hit OK. And now change the blend mode of that layer to multiply. And we're pretty much going quite well there. I'm then going to switch to the mask for the smart filters. I'm going to get my brush here. I'm going to use one of the Kyle Webster brushes that you get as a CC subscriber. I'm going to use Clouds Puffy from the concept set there. And then just make some strokes here just to reintroduce parts of the original image, especially around the eyes just there, and brush those into the trees because that way you're getting sort of a cloudy effect around there. And every bit of this is modifiable. If I want to go into the mask for the fog, for example, and change some of that, then I can mask parts of that out here, for example, around the mouth, as I'm doing just now, and I can always undo that or paint in with white if I needed to change it, but it's completely configurable. The final thing I'll do is to select the top layer, use the claw shortcut, that's Shift Alt Command or Shift Alt Control E, so I get a merged copy at the top there. Filter menu, come down to blur and choose average, which gives me the average of all of those values. Change the blend mode there to overlay, and then drop it down to about 60 or 70% or whatever takes your fancy, and that's it. That's your Shuriken skill to practice this week. Don't forget, if you want to learn more even faster, then check out my courses on lynda.com and LinkedIn Learning. Please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications and feedback to me either here or via Facebook or Twitter. But for now, we're done, and I'll see you next week for another Shuriken Skills episode. See ya.